Hello, everyone, and welcome to NaNoWriMo 101, an introduction to National Novel Writing Month. I just have a couple announcements before I let our presenters get started. So I'm Sarah, I work for the Orange County Library System and an event planner, and I am also an author. And so NaNoWriMo has a special place in my heart because that's how I wrote my first book. And I know a lot of published authors who wrote their first books through NaNoWriMo, so I'm very excited. If you're not yet familiar with NaNoWriMo, I hope you participate. I hope you like it as much as I did. So just to let you know, we have some more writing workshops coming up, some meant to prepare you for NaNoWriMo. So I'm going to drop the links in the description so you can see more information about those workshops. And also wanted to let you know that if you ask a question, whether on YouTube or on Facebook, and the presenters answer your question, your name and your profile picture are going to show up on the screen. So just a heads up about that. And I think without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on, they are called municipal liaisons, which is a word I have trouble saying, for National Novel Writing Month, Orlando area. So we're going to bring on Brad Scheffler and Allie Martin. Hello.
Hi.
Hey. How's it going?
Good. I'm excited for this. I'm going to kind of just like take myself off screen and let y'all get started. So let me know if you need anything.
Awesome. Well, there we go. So I'm normally, when I live stream, it's like an interview show. So I'm really tempted to just start interviewing you, Allie, but that's not what we're here for. It's like not what we're here for.
Don't do that.
Oh. So hello, everybody. As Sarah said, I am Brad Scheffler, and I'm joined by
Allie Martin. Hello.
Let you say your own name, but yeah, we are two of the municipal liaisons for the Orlando region. We have two new liaisons joining us this year, Chris Haber and Corey Ann Bonfilio. So there are now four of us. We have four people.
Yeah, we're an actual team, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, super teams have four people. That's us.
I think that's fair. I think I'm like the Aquaman of the group. Like I'm only available and useful in very specific situations.
And you definitely talk to fish.
And I do talk to fish regularly.
So,
so we're going to kind of just jump right into this with what is NaNoWriMo. So if you're here with us, a 101 is designed to give you an idea of what NaNoWriMo is and how you might participate during this process or this event. So we'll kind of jump right into what NaNoWriMo is. So NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month, so you get the first few letters there, and you might say Rimo, you might say Remo, you decide. It's up to you. Right. And the goal of it is to write 50,000 words in the 30 days during the month of November. So the idea is that many of us have said or believe that we have a book in us that we can write, but we really don't necessarily actually get around to doing it. So NaNoWriMo says, hey, take the 30 days of November, which, no important events going on in the month of November, so that Absolutely seems fine. And write 50,000 words, which is kind of the cutoff for the beginning of a short novel. And so it amounts to 1,667 words per day to make that goal.
Yeah, and the traditional NaNoWriMo is you're starting with a new project that you haven't written before, not one word of. But that's not the way you have to do it. You can be a rebel and you can work on something that you've started and now you're finishing it, or you can work on something that you're revising entirely. You can work on projects that aren't novels at all. You can work on multiple projects. So all of that would encompass being a rebel, and we fully support rebels. So just know that the goal still remains to write 50,000 words in the 30 days.
I think you and I have both been rebels for many, many past years.
Mostly, I think we rebel.
It's like the one thing I actually do is not follow the rules. So why should you nano? Allie, why should someone do NaNoWriMo?
I mean, it's right there on the screen. It really does force you to write because you've got this goal set of writing these 50,000 words in a certain time frame. And so there's no more, well, I'll just do it tomorrow. I mean, if you do it tomorrow, you're quickly going to have to be writing 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 words per day. So there really is no wait and do it tomorrow. So it really does force you to write, and it forces you to actually like sit down, and you have the motivation and support of this entire community of people who are also writing their novel and going through the exact same struggles that you are, which is number two. It forces you to, it lets you meet new people. So anyone who is in the Orlando region, when you sign onto the website and you put yourself in your home region, which would be Orlando for us, you're going to instantly be connected to all the other writers who are nearby you. So in a normal non-pandemic year, you would actually get to meet everybody in person and go to all of our events and write-ins and interact and meet a whole bunch of new writer friends. It's been one of the best ways for me to meet new writers in the area and to participate in writing groups and form writing groups. So like that whole meeting new people, meeting new writer people is really a huge thing. Number three, we've got start a daily writing habit. And I don't know how many people are going to start a writing habit after Nano, because writing 1,600 words a day is pretty exhausting, not gonna lie. But if you can write every day during Nano, you are definitely proving to yourself that you can do it. So if you downgrade in December to write only 100 words a day, it seems a lot more doable. And in full disclosure, I am someone who has been writing every day for the last 5 years. So that didn't start with Nano, but it is something that I can tell you is entirely doable, especially if you start with just like that low minimum word count. And Nano's not a bad time to try out and see if that's something that you want to do. Not every writer has to do it, but it is something that you can figure out during Nano if it's something you want to do and continue. Yeah, and number four, you can say, I wrote a book. I think for anyone who is a first-time writer, that can be the most rewarding thing about Nano, is just finishing the book, putting all of those words on the page. And it may not, it's not going to be perfect. It may not even be finished. You may have like 90% of the draft actually written, or 80% of it actually written. But being able to say, I started it and I got to a stopping point is just one of the most rewarding things about the whole program.
Yeah, agreed. Since this is going to be saved for posterity, I will say that, I really think that number two is super critical, because it really changed a lot of, my first year doing Nano, I did it very much alone. I didn't go to events. I didn't do anything else. And then from then on, my second year, I started going to write-ins, and that was how you and I met, Allie, and how a whole group of us started to meet on Sundays. And to continue that habit, we continued it past NaNoWriMo. So it became this group, this constant writing group, that people that I can call on and ask questions of, or just hang out occasionally, grab a cup of coffee and talk about writing, or just sit quietly around each other and write. And so it's, some of those things that have become really important. And it all started with Nano, because you find other people that don't think it's crazy to spend their weekend writing, and it's like, okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, there's something about that shared experience that's really important.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Let's click it right along here. So how do you NaNoWriMo? You write.
That's write.
And keep writing. Yeah. It seems simple, right? It seems simple. Like, how do you do it? Well, you just write. And that really is all there is to it. You write. This is a competition, but it's a competition with yourself. This is, when I've explained it to students before, your goal is 50,000 words, and getting there is a goal for you. So it's not like I'm competing with Allie, which that would be bad for everybody.
We would never do that.
No, but let's be a ridiculous competition anyways. You would destroy me. But you're not competing with the other people doing NaNoWriMo. You're competing against yourself. You're working to make that 50,000. So all you really have to do is write. And then the two other steps that you should do is, number one, update your word count daily. You want to put that word count on the NaNoWriMo website every day, which is simple. You go in, if you're writing online, which is what most people tend to do, you copy all your text, you paste it on a box on the website, it spits out a number, you hit submit. It's a 30-second process every day. And then validate your word count by the end of November, which again, you copy all your text, paste it in, and it'll validate once. Usually it opens up on the 15th, give or take.
I think it's a little bit later, but it's before the end of the month, maybe the 20th.
Yep.
But make sure you do it before midnight on the 30th, because it does close.
Yes.
And you won't be able to validate your win. It'll still show, like if you wrote 50,000 words and you typed in that you wrote the 50,000 words, it'll still say that you wrote 50,000 words, but it won't validate and say that, like make it an official win. So that's the one thing that I would say, make sure you do that. and actually part of that, why updating daily, I think, is a fairly important thing to do, just to get you in the habit of going to the website, make you familiar with the website, particularly as you get towards the end of the month and maybe there are some other distractions going on and you don't want to have to figure out how the website works, then start learning it at the beginning of the month. So that way you'll know how to do all of the updates and everything, and validating will be very easy for you.
Cool. Next. So the next thing we're talking about is the NaNoWriMo website. That's NaNoWriMo.org. So this is kind of how you get started. If you go to NaNoWriMo.org, you will be able to sign up in the top right corner. So where Allie has her high self-winding, that would be a sign up button if you're not signed in. So you sign up and then you announce your novel. So you click the button to announce your novel, and
that creates your project.
Yep. And then you would set Orlando as your home region. That's the big one. If you're in Orlando, make sure you set Orlando as your home region so that you get updates from us about events and everything else that we have going on.
And you can see it. It's in the community tab. Open that up, show you. It'll say home region, and it'll list Orlando, Florida once you have homed yourself.
Yep. If it doesn't say that, then, if it doesn't look like you see here on the screen with that drop down where it says home region, you haven't homed yourself in Orlando yet. So make sure you do that. It's going to be critical, especially this year with us not doing in-person events. It's going to be really critical that you're listed in the right places so that you're getting the updates from us as we go.
Yeah, and that makes sure that you'll receive emails from us if we have any announcements. We don't send a lot of emails, but it is like we send an announcement about this workshop and the workshops that are coming up next weekend. And we'll send out other announcements about events coming out, like the kickoff party right around Virtual Disney, and anything else that is a big thing. And we'll also try to make sure that everyone knows where all our social media is and all of that kind of stuff. And then that's also where you update your word count. It's on the website. The update button is not there yet because we're not live for NaNoWriMo 2020 yet. And that is one thing. When you create your project, make sure you associate it with the NaNoWriMo 2020 event, because then you'll be registered for NaNoWriMo 2020, not just working on a project that happens to be in November. That's one distinction that they have recently made. So make sure you announce it as being part of the NaNoWriMo 2020 project.
Yeah, and I just did mine right before we came online, and it's very straightforward. You really, really easily just, you click announce, you click, like it reminds you in 5 different places to be able to announce your project. So there's not necessarily one specific place. It's like all over the website when you're logged in. Here's how you announce. Don't forget to announce. And so you click it, you give a title, and you just say that, associate it with an event and Nano 2020, and everything else is pretty much next, and you're done. So it's good stuff. So this is the regional homepage. So those of you that maybe didn't participate last year, or even if you did, the site's changed a good bit again, somewhat. So you'll notice right away you have access to our social media there on the side, and a link at the top to get to our forums for the region as well. And then there's the events tab where we'll be putting links and stuff to online events that are going on, kind of like you see the links right there for this event.
Yeah.
Tips and tricks. How do you win NaNoWriMo? Don't be me. That's trick number one.
Start just by beating Brad. That's the first goal. Just beat Brad.
And everybody will do that. So then pick something slightly harder.
I mean, obviously, write anywhere and everywhere. This is one that applies maybe more to normal years when you are not perhaps working from home and socializing from home and doing literally everything else from home, but still write anywhere and everywhere. Because everyone's going to have some time when they're going to be out getting groceries, or maybe you are working in the office and you've got to commute or whatever. But find times to write at any point in your schedule. That's one of the key things, is just figuring out how you're going to have the time to write all of these words. And our top tip always is write whenever you can.
It sounds so silly, but like we when we do this event in person, people start suggesting things out. You'd be amazed how many books have been written on the toilet. I think that is pretty much go-to advice from many of our writers, is take advantage of times where you're sitting, whether you have pants on or not. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
So, and I think that the 2 and 3 really line up with that. Like, maybe you're the kind of person that, like Allie, sets aside an hour a day or more to actually sit down and write for the most part. I don't. I do the 5 minutes 12 times a day. And when I have a few minutes here and there, I grab my phone and I start typing. My first year when I won Nano the first time, I was commuting I was like kind of carpooling, and I made sure that whole month I didn't drive. I let the other person drive the carpool, and I wrote every single day to and from work. And that's basically how I wrote my book, was in 15-minute chunks twice a day. And that's how I wrote my entire first book, pretty much. So it's about grabbing every minute here and there that you can. And if you can do that on top of setting aside an hour a day, then you've really got a winning combo.
That's pretty much what I do. I do write, about an hour every day now. But I also write in 5-minute chunks every now and then, where I just have a little bit of time here or there, or, instead of it just being, oh, I thought of an idea, I'll actually sit down and write it for 5 minutes. And all of that time adds up in words very quickly. So yeah, those are two things that I would definitely recommend to do. Is don't think about your writing life as having to be, I have set aside this specific time and this is the time in which I will write. Like, treat it as, this is something that I am embracing for the entire month. And if I only have 5 minutes today, then those are the 5 minutes that I'm going to do. And if I can figure out how to get another 5 minutes and another 5 minutes and another 5 minutes, then you're on to something. You're actually getting to have a writing life, instead of it just being something that you thought you maybe could do sometime when you have more time. And no one writes like that. Not really. I'm in a unique situation in which I can say I'm going to write for an hour every day. But most writers are much more in the, I've got 5 minutes here, I've got 5 minutes there. And that's the way that they get it done.
And using sort of a more practical tip, using Google Docs or Word Online will mean that you can access that file on any device. So that 5 minutes here and there is easy to be able to knock out 5 minutes on your phone, because that's where you are right now. And then you sit down at your desk and you add on another 5 minutes, but you just are able to pick up right where you are. So using that online piece is really good. One we don't have listed here, Allie, that we probably should, which, if I had actually prepped and looked at this in advance, I might have suggested. We don't, what we don't have listed is don't delete anything.
Oh yeah. That is one that should be on this list, is don't delete anything. Even if you're not going to use it in your final draft, like maybe you wrote a scene, you're like, oh, it's just not working. Just put it into a scrap file and put that as part of your whole word count document, because you wrote those words. Those words went into your novel, in that you needed to write them to get to your novel. So those words totally count for Nano. So don't delete, just move it into a different file. If it's really bothering you, you could leave it all together if you don't care, or if you can block it off some way that makes sense for you. But don't delete it. Keep it, count it, and then in December you can delete it.
Yep. Absolutely. And you'd be amazed how often like you delete something and then it's like, wait, actually, I really would have used that later. And I didn't think I needed it, but now that actually might, bits and pieces of it might come in there. So I think that's really critical. So shout out to Rolando and Timothy in the chat doing their first year of NaNoWriMo. That's pretty exciting, right? That's awesome.
Man, congratulations.
That's pretty cool. I'm excited.
Like, honestly, congratulations. It really is impressive whenever people sign up for it for the first time, because it can be really intimidating to agree to this thing and to tell other people that you're doing this thing. And, so like, congratulations for being brave enough to sign up. And I wish you the best of luck in making it to the end with your sanity fully intact.
Yep. Yeah, and Nicole Wills points out the strike through for previously written content is a very useful tool. So absolutely, strike through is excellent.
I will say, if you're not using an online program, like if you're in Scrivener and it's not, and you don't have it on your phone or something along those lines, or you just don't have access to an online program, just send yourself emails or notes. I frequently will think of something while I'm in the shower and dry off my hands really quick, grab my phone, send myself a little email, and then it's there for me when I get back to my desk again. So just anything that you can do to help yourself get those words on the page, that's going to help you. Another thing that I will say, that's another tip that we don't have on here, this is just like your bonus for listening. Think about what you're going to write for the day before you write it. So usually, like, I don't write until the afternoon or the evening. So in the morning, while I'm eating breakfast or having my shower or, doing whatever I'm doing in the morning, I will think about what I'm going to work on for the day. And so I'll kind of think through the scene. Maybe I'll come up with a little bit of dialogue. That's when I might email it to myself. But I'll know where the scene is going to take place, who is in the scene, and like what the goal of the scene is. So doing that little pre-writing work means that when I steal any of those 5 minutes, or when I sit down for that whole hour, I've already thought through some of the stuff that needs to happen before you start writing. And that way I can actually like put words on the page instead of just sitting there going, what am I going to write about now? What happens next? But so you can do some of that work ahead of time, and then that saves your writing time for actual writing.
Nice. Yeah. So I wanted to say, if you're watching live, you're joining us online, and you have other tips, you've done Nano before, maybe you have other tips, feel free to drop them in the chat. I will keep an eye out for that as we continue on. Also, if you are new to Nano, let us know that. And if you have questions we haven't answered, also throw those in the chat. So when we get wrapped up, we'll be coming back to the chat and pointing out some of those questions and answering those, as well as pointing out suggestions. Speaking of, Setsuki Date says that they actually make writing pads for in the shower now.
I have one that is a field notes kind of thing. It's like for taking it like out into like swamps or whatever. I don't know.
I'm just imagining the field notes I would make about myself in the shower.
Please don't, or at least don't share them.
Yeah.
But I do have a little waterproof notebook, but I don't have a convenient place to store it in my shower.
Oh, the struggle is real.
It really is.
So yeah, prep workshops. This is important. So I'm going to let Allie take this one because I don't know anything about them.
So we've got a workshop conference, basically, writer conference. Next weekend, it's hosted with Orange County Library System. They are our wonderful co-hosts for this. We've split it up into 2 days, and nothing is against each other. So that way you can go and watch all of the videos if you want. So October 17th, we've got 1 p.m. basic plot structures, 2 p.m. world building, 3 p.m. finishing your first draft. So that's going to take you through like ways that you can put your idea onto an existing plot structure and then actually like have your book and have a beginning, middle, and end. What your setting is going to look like, what things you need to know, when you write, like how it's going to inform your world, and then how to actually like get from your first few words to your few end words. So the whole finishing your first draft one is one that I really like a lot. October 18th, 1 p.m., developing your main character, 2 p.m., writing conflict, and 3 p.m., making inspiration work for you. So the October 18th, we're going to deal with creating your main character, also kind of like talking about ensembles too, because sometimes in the ensemble, one character will start creeping up ahead of everybody else. So it'll be a little bit of how to deal with that. Writing conflict is one of the things that I feel like we struggle with during Nano, is either not giving your characters enough to do, and then you run out of juice because there's not enough conflict sustaining the novel. So I've asked someone to talk specifically about that topic, how to write it, how to create conflict, how to keep it going and sustain your whole book. And then the making inspiration work for you is a topic that's going to kind of help people who are pantsing, or people who have done a lot of planning but have inspiration in the middle and maybe go way off their plan. So all of that is going to deal with like how you take your idea from start to finish. So it'll tie in a lot, I think, with finishing your first draft, but it'll be talking more about like the idea aspect of it. All of those workshops, you can register at the event that is link that is on the screen. I'm sure Sarah or someone will be putting it in the chat as well. And if you follow our social media, we're going to tweet it about 1,000 times. So it'll be out there. You do need to register in advance for these, and they're not going to be recorded. So this is your one shot to see them. If you can't come for some reason, maybe ask a friend to take notes for you. And I promise it'll be a good time.
Yeah, awesome.
We've got a lot of wonderful authors who have volunteered their time for it, and I'm super excited about our lineup this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun day. And we don't have to be completely exhausted having actually run.
We will not be completely exhausted running around from it. I'm so excited about that.
It'll be awesome. All right, let's see here. So don't forget, we also have a lot of different virtual hubs and places to connect with Nano, especially this year with everything being virtual. We've added a lot of additional ways to get involved, get connected with us. That's the other reason having some extra MLs has been really helpful, is we're able to split some of that work up. So, of course, the NaNoRlando homepage is place number one. We talked about that already. We also have our NaNoRlando forums, which are linked through the NaNoWriMo homepage as well.
Yeah, the important thing about the homepage is you can find links to everything through the homepage. So we try really hard to make sure that that place has everything. So if you are ever like, oh, do they have an Instagram? Go to the homepage. If you don't know where the calendar is, go to the homepage. That's going to be the place that has as much of everything as we can possibly put there.
Okay, cool. And then this is the new one. One of the new ones, our Discord, our NaNoRlando Discord is getting going. People are joining in there. So that is available at the link on the screen. And keep in mind that is case sensitive. So if you are comfortable with Discord and you like to use it, then quick and easy, Discord is link there. And if you've not used it before, this might be a great time to start to learn some stuff about Discord.
I will say, before the pandemic, I had not used Discord, and I felt very reluctant to using it because I have enough other things. But my writing group needed to meet, so we picked Discord as a place to meet. And I have turned a leaf. I am a believer in Discord. I think it's really useful for writing groups and for running writing sprints, especially. So I would greatly encourage you to try it out, especially if you feel reluctant. I would say try it out anyway. You're going to be trying it out with a smaller group if you're going to the NaNoRlando one. So it will be a little bit less intimidating, I think, to get started on. And we are going to be having the majority of our ML run write-ins happening through the Discord. We will have some in other spaces too. But it is definitely a place that's very useful for us particularly. So I would encourage everyone to join if possible.
Awesome. Let's see. Of course, our NaNoWriMo Facebook hasn't changed. So if you've been with us before, or if not, we have our NaNoRlando Facebook. So facebook.com/NaNoRlandoWriMo.
We should have some writings there too, I think.
Our Twitter. Yep, we are going to have, I thought. Cool. And then our Twitter, which is probably where, other than the Discord, I would say the Discord will probably be more active than the Twitter this year. Would you say? I feel like we're all in there. Yeah.
But the Twitter will still be active.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll be at least as active as it has been in previous years, I think.
And then our NaNoRlando Instagram.
Yeah, and the Instagram is already starting to post a lot of like prep content. So if you are an Instagram person, I don't know what Instagram people call themselves. But if you are someone who uses Instagram, there's already stuff there. And there will continue to be posts throughout this month. If you want to join somewhere that's already like active and going.
Our NaNoRlando NaNoWriMo 2020 calendar is available as well, which is a Google Calendar, so it's easy to add to whatever calendar system you use, and you can find that directly on the front page for the Orlando or the Orlando front region page on the NaNoWriMo.org.
And don't worry that you can't read this. This will all be information that comes out consistently. All of our social media accounts, we will tweet and post. Hey, this is the event that's happening this week, and this is the event that's happening today, and you'll get all kinds of reminders for it. And you can find links to this calendar all over the place. Like I said, the homepage we always have the links to it. There's a post in the forum that has the calendar on it live. Just make sure you're looking at November and not October, because right now it says October. And of course, we'll post it anywhere else that we can. But yeah, it fills up fast. This is what it has already on it, and it's October 11th. So it will fill up even more than this. I'm not sure how much more because it's virtual this year, but in a normal year, we have somewhere around like 60 write-ins. So that's a lot.
In a normal year, there's not any days on this calendar that has nothing going on.
Yeah, that's true. Even Thanksgiving has stuff on it.
Yep. So before we go into some of our events we are definitely doing this year, I wanted to shout out a couple people in the chat. So we asked for advice, and I really liked the advice by Terry Dreyer. Said he tends to stop in the middle of a sentence. That's cool. That's good thinking.
I've heard that advice. It's not one that I can do, but I've heard that advice. I've also heard the advice to not stop at the end of a scene, to actually like write into if you're at the end of a scene, write into the next scene, which I do agree with that one. That one helps me a lot. But if I know what the end of the scene is, I need to at least write like a rough version of what the end of that scene is, or at least leave a note for myself that tells me what the characters were doing when I was thinking it.
Yeah. And then Angie Lopez suggests doing some kind of exercise before writing. I've gotten really into like self-care, so I just support the exercise decision in general, but like before writing, I definitely think is a good choice.
Anything that like she says, get anxiety out of the way, like anything that lets you alleviate anxiety, like 100% do that thing. I drink tea like all of the time and like just that little ritual of making my tea kind of helps me calm down. I also use that time to think about what I'm going to write. But anything that you can do that will help you like get into the writing mindset and release whatever anxiety you're working with, whether, like it's the world or just like what else you have to do in your life, or if it's, the fear of the blank page, whatever it is, if you create some kind of ritual for yourself before you sit down, that can be a really big help.
Cool. And then one more advice here, and I'm going to point it out. Danon Moody, writing as soon as they wake up clears a lot of their head. I just point that out because, Allie, your advice is to spend some time thinking about writing before you write. And Dana here doing the opposite. I think it's important to point out that everybody writes kind of differently, right? Like everybody's process is different. So tips and tricks we may give work great for us. That does not mean they will necessarily work great for you. So if you find yourself where you're trying to do, you know, a writing in the morning and it's not working for you, well, then maybe go with Allie's advice of thinking about it. If thinking about it is just messing with you and you don't feel like you're as productive, start writing as soon as you wake up. So I think that, you know, trying to change things up, Nano's a great time to try different ways of writing.
Yeah. And some people will feel like, well, I already told the story. You know, that's what I hear for a lot of people who don't want to plan. They're like, well, I already told the story, so I don't have the need to tell it anymore. And so like, that means that you're not a planner, and that's fine. You know, you need to do what you need to do in order to write. This is just like, I've been writing every day for the last 5 years. I don't advise that for everyone. You know, don't do that if that's not productive for you. If it stresses you out, or if the sound, like if me telling you that I've been doing that stresses you out, definitely don't do that. You know, you have to write in a way that works for you. And it is absolutely going to look different for every single writer. And honestly, sometimes it's different for every project, because there are some projects that I plan out extensively and other ones that I totally pants. And, you know, it just depends upon what you're working with. And yeah, don't take anyone's writing advice as this is the way to write. Write however you need to, and try new things.
Cool. Yeah. All right. We have some other questions, but we'll come to those after. Let's talk about some events, because I think some of those questions we may answer as we get going. So we are having events this year. They are virtual events. Home office has been very clear about not doing in-person events this year. So everything will be virtual, which, you know, it's got its goods and its bads, you know, but we'll start. So kickoff party is on October 25th from 3 to 5 p.m. Which will be on Discord and our Facebook. So both of those will be active, and we'll have, did you want to give a little sneak peek of what might be happening at our Discord party or kickoff party?
I was going to say, some of it we're working out still, but there will definitely be, you'll see our faces again, and we'll give some announcements about like what else is going on. We also will be doing a raffle for survival kits. If you've been around the region for a while, you'll be familiar with the fact that we raffle off survival kits every year. It's just kind of a way to encourage you to get through the month, maybe provide a few tools for you that can help you. The survival kits are very different this year because obviously we will need to mail them out instead of handing them to you in person. So they also have to be lighter weight than they have been in the past. But there's still, we've got a calendar in it to help you pace yourself out. I think there's some stickers, a motivational magnet, if I'm remembering correctly. There's a few little goodies in it. We'll have one grand survival kit, which will go to one person, and it'll have a little bit more stuff in it. And then we'll have somewhere between 5 and 10, we're working out exactly how many additional survival kits. So we'll get as many out as we possibly can. And that'll be in a raffle format. There'll be a Google form to fill out that should come out sometime this week. And you can just sign up for it, and you'll automatically be entered in the raffle. You do not have to attend the kickoff party in order to win. You can just fill out the raffle. You do need to be homed in the region, though. That's the one thing. You need to be homed in the region. And there was another thing that I thought of related to that, and I lost it. I'm sure it's fine.
And then the other big event, and I think of all the things I'm most disappointed about being online only, it is that we don't get to do our in-person right around Disney World, which has been both exhausting and a really, really fun event every year. So it's a little sad, but we are not going to let it die. We are still going to do a virtual right around Disney World event. So more details on that to come.
It will be awesome. I am very excited about it, actually. Despite the fact that we can't meet in person, I am very excited about it being virtual. And one of the reasons why I'm excited about it being virtual is that every year we have people tell us that they can't come for some reason that is totally understandable. And a lot of times it's transportation issues or a mobility issue. And I am so excited that everybody gets to participate this year. Those don't have to be a problem this year. So I'm really excited about that, that we'll be able to reach more people with this super fun event. And I hope we can translate it in some way virtually. We're working on it.
we will be randomly piping in music of singing bears when necessary, just to really feel like you're actually at the event.
You joke like that, but you know if I can figure that out.
Oh, it's happening. All right. And then the last big event we have every year, besides the ongoing write-ins, is the TGIO party, the Thank Goodness It's Over party, which will be the first week of December. And we will request that you sit in the trunk of your car and eat pizza during that event.
Yes, I do think that's the only way to really capture what it's like.
I think that's the only way. So there's just kind of one slide, quick access to all of those resources. So if you're watching, you may just want to screenshot that and hold on to it, because that's all those resources we talked about already. But we have...
Hold on, Brad. We should just smile and give them a good... All right, there you go.
Okay, cool. Good times. It's a wonderful picture. All right. So we had some questions. So we're gonna scroll back up in the chat here. Where's the one I wanted to talk about first? Here we go. Martha Geeney, how does NaNoWriMo benefit someone who writes mysteries, which require lots of keeping track of plot twist clues and red herrings? I'm gonna let you have this one, Allie.
A mystery. Can you give this? Well, for tracking, like, I can't think of any resources that NaNoWriMo has for tracking information. But I'm sure if you're writing a mystery, you probably already have resources for tracking it. So I would say definitely, like, keep a list for yourself that lets you track all of those plot twists and clues and red herrings. One of the things that you can definitely get from Nano is the pressure. So you've got to finish it in 30 days. So the pressure is on. So if you are motivated in any way by having a fire under you, this is the ultimate fire that is lit. So you definitely have a lot of pressure, which I think can help with figuring out some of those plot twists, like the sudden inspiration and things like that. It does keep things fresh because you're going so fast. So if you're writing over the course of a year, it's a little bit easier to forget what you wrote in January, but it's a little easier to remember what you wrote on November 1st. So that can also help as well. But yeah, I think the condensed format can help for that.
Condensed format and condensed time. You're not trying to write about something that you started 6 months ago and you don't remember the specific details. Like, it was always 30 days ago. But I think also, one thing we haven't really said, and it might be relevant here, is that you're not expected to have a finished novel in 30 days, right? So, I mean, you did say, Allie, that you may not finish, but like, you may get all the words down and have like your story, quote unquote, finished. But I mean, that is a real rough first draft. In my first draft of my first book, my Nano book, like, a character changed gender in the middle of the book for no reason. And I didn't mean to. Like, it wasn't, I forgot what gender they were in the previous chapter, and then they proceeded to be a girl the rest of the book. And so it was quite confusing to the first time I read through it to figure out what had happened. The whole plot's just never wrapped up or cleaned up. And I did all that in post, because what you don't do in the month of November is reread what you've written or edit what you've written. You just keep moving forward. So, certainly, Martha, I would say planning is going to be critical to get even a rough idea of a story in terms of a mystery, because you're going to have some kind of outline. But just keep writing. And you may reorganize things, may rearrange things, keep things, delete things, whatever. But it's that habit and that support of other people that I think you'll still benefit from in Nano. So Kaylee Carpenter asked, is Nano's not active where they are? Is it weird if they join Orlando?
No.
No, not at all. You're welcome. You're totally welcome. Especially since everything's virtual. It's not even like you're gonna have to drive up to us. So I would say yeah.
I've absolutely been telling all of my friends, like, you can just be in Orlando for the year, like just join us. I'm anticipating that we'll probably have some people who have wanted to travel for Ride Around Disney join us for the virtual one. So yeah, please feel free. We will, I think we might be able to see that you don't live in the Central Florida area, and that's fine. We'll be happy to have you.
Absolutely. Satsuki asks to our lovely admins, will there be a space on the forum for getting critique partners this year? I think there could be. We could probably make something for that. That's usually something we look at towards the end of November, right? Like talking about.
I don't know that we have had one locally before, okay. But I haven't thought of it. So
I was just excited to point out something that you hadn't thought of. That just got me excited. So. Let's see. Yeah. So, all right. So Danon Moody is again, any thoughts on if you have an idea in your head, but no real structure? Is that overthinking it? I have a starting point in my head and it's not 100% clear yet. So that's how I wrote my first book. I had in my head roughly the first chapter, like just not even that really. I had the kind of the spark of the story and some rough ideas where I wanted things to go. And then I took off from there. And so I think one of the things is there's a lot of ways to do nano. I don't know that there's necessarily a wrong way to do nano, but one of the big categories we talk about a lot is planner or pantser. So are you someone who plans out a book with great detail, or are you someone who just completely makes it up as you go along, or somewhere in between? So a plantser. So depending on it again is going to come back to sort of your style. So Danon, if you're better with a rough idea structure or a rough idea to start with and then run with it, absolutely. That's me. I've tried to do a structure before Nano and it failed miserably. It fell apart real hard. To be fair, most everything I do in Nano falls apart pretty hard. So that's not actually saying all that much, but still, it is something to think about.
I would say most people have some idea of story structure just from the fact that you have read books and watched movies and television shows. So you already have some of it internalized. So I think it's okay if you don't have a full plan, but you might want to at least know where you're going. So have a destination in mind, even if you don't know exactly how you're going to get there. As long as you have a destination in mind, you can start figuring out, okay, well, what's the halfway point? Okay, well, what's the point between those 2 points? Okay, what's the point between those 2 points? And that can kind of help you reverse engineer something that looks like a structure in a story.
And then, Rolando, I think you can just type in the SVTS capital G DQ to get into the Discord if the scan isn't working. But we can throw the links in the chat as well. We can do that.
Yes.
So I think that's it. That's the questions and comments we've gotten in the chat. And then let's see, where are we here? There we go. That's good luck. I think that's the thing to wrap up there. I mean, hopefully we didn't discourage you. Hopefully we gave you some ideas of what NaNoWriMo is and how it works and what it might be like to compete. Hopefully, I know we had a couple people here that are new. Welcome to the Orlando NaNoWriMo region, even if it's honorarily. And join us on Discord, join us on Twitter, join us on Facebook, join us on Instagram. We are in all of the places. So we really appreciate you guys joining us. Allie, you have anything you want to close us up here?
I don't think so. I think we've hit everything.
It's almost like we've done this before.
It's almost like we've done this before.
But now we can just play this back every year. We can just, here you go.
Oh, hey, I totally remembered the thing that I was going to say related to the raffle. If you donate to either NaNOrlando or to NaNoWriMo, you can get a second entry to the raffle. So no money is going like in our personal pockets. Anything that goes to the region will be going back into the region. And then if you go and donate to NaNoWriMo itself, that goes directly to the home office and it supports all of their wonderful things that they do. So that's just another way to get a second entry to the raffle. Yeah.
Cool. I did real quick. Angie Lopez points out that she has her story settled, but doesn't know names for characters. And I really liked the idea farther down of naming them after fruit. That's a really cool idea because you can do a find and replace later. Satsuki, I think that's fun. I'm pretty sure that's how Dragon Ball ended up with all their character names. They just forgot to replace because they're all vegetables. But that's actually true. That's a true story. But the other option is you can do sometimes I'll have like brackets. It'll be like brackets, name of character here, brackets, name of place here. And then I can go back and find it that way too. So a lot of things you can do during that. Plus, if you put name of place here, that's 4 words instead of just the 1 word of a name. Boom.
I have maybe also done that. It's fine.
All right. Thank you all so much for introducing everyone to NaNoWriMo. If you're interested, make sure you follow. I dropped the social media links twice in the chat, so scroll back and you can get all those, and you can follow them. And we'll be posting. Oh, there you go. We'll be hosting some virtual write-ins too with the library, so keep an eye out for that. They haven't been scheduled yet, but they will be this week. And then I also dropped a link for the survey. So if you could fill out the survey, let us know what you think about today's program and also what you'd like to see coming up. That would be great. And then this will stay at this link forever. So whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, the video will still be available all month long and through November. So you can feel free to share it with anyone who might be interested in NaNoWriMo and wants to learn a little bit more about it. And that is everything. Brad and Allie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see y'all this weekend for the prep workshops on Saturday and Sunday. And those will be in Zoom, so make sure you do register ahead of time for those because you won't be able to access it if you don't register. So, all right. Thank you so much. Everyone stay safe, wash your hands, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.